Hey, my name's Cody. I'm calling from Denver.
Cody from Denver. What's on your mind?
Hey, this one, I'll try not to get emotional here. We just passed the 4-year anniversary of the loss of a friend in the Colorado comedy community. Some content warnings. It was a trans woman, and the way we lost her was a little dark. I think you guys know what I mean, but I really wanted to talk about the impact that the transphobic rhetoric has kind of on a personal level, because kind of just going back and reminiscing and looking through social media posts that this person made in their last month, you can really kind of start to see the effect of a lot of that rhetoric on their mental state that led up to it. Now, this was like before Matt Walsh's "What's a Woman" and stuff like that, but there was still a lot of horrible rhetoric going out. And so one of the things that I had seen that they had posted in their last month was a rant, and I kind of wanted to share it a little bit. She said, "If you feel transgender people are often opinionated and militant in their beliefs, it's true because we have to defend our existence constantly. When I first transitioned, I was the type to live and let live. Life goes on. I'm still that way. I don't actively attack people with and about who I am and why I demand a place. I love talking about it in my comedy because there's a lot that needs to be said, and it's hilarious too." And she was a very funny comic, very fun person to be around. And then she says, "But then I get the random messages. You know, you're an effed up gay dude. Have you ever heard Joe Rogan's podcast? Here's a link to Ben Shapiro. What do you say to his views?" Then I hear conversations in public. "A dude with an effed up penis. You're pretty passable." Then I'm approached by people in public, often after sets. "Did you know you're just sick? You should be in a hospital. You have an acute mental illness." I never asked for people to send me these links or videos. I never asked to have the conversations. They're coming up to me and initiating it. Now, when I finally talk back or do a post like this, I'm the one instigating. I'm defending my existence every day from random people. People get defensive if they have to be defensive a majority of the time, is what she said. And was met with a lot of support from our community. Now, what she's talking about there is definitely instances of I think, people that are very malicious in their transphobia, which is a huge problem. Now, about a week after that, she kind of shared the other side of transphobia within her family, where you get these folks, they watch Tucker or Shapiro or Rogan or whatever, and they're convinced that if you love your trans child, you'll convince them that they're not trans. So she had shared a screenshot from what her mom had sent her, and she said, "I love you so much I would die for you, but you aren't a woman, and what you're doing isn't right. Read Romans 1. Homosexuality is a sin. You may not want to talk to me anymore, and God made you a man for some reason, and he never makes mistakes. I love you and don't want to lose you, but I'm hurting and angry and worried, and I think what you're doing is out of anger, depression, and is self-mutilation." So, in this post, she said, I'm not doing okay right now. So again, huge outpouring of folks being supportive in that, supporting her among our friend groups. Now, we had a scary day a couple weeks after that where she'd gone missing, and ultimately we never get to see her again. But it gets more frustrating because after she passed, we found the eulogy, the obituary that her parents had put in. This was up in Laramie, Wyoming. Really great history of being supportive of LGBTQ people there.
Right.
But they, in the obituary, they misgendered her. They used her dead name. And you really see that if you lose your child and that's not enough for you to realize, that you need to be kinder and rethink things. And the whole reason that they ended up leaving this world, you're still going to double down on it, was pretty awful. So we saw this in our community, and we made sure that our local magazine, Westward, here in Denver, wrote a proper obituary that really actually gave credit, properly gendered her, and celebrated her life in a way that I guess our folks weren't willing to. But all this stuff being said, this is where, like, when folks see us being activists to try to help trans people, LGBTQ communities and whatnot, I'll constantly hear like, oh, you guys are just a bunch of woke social justice warriors and you're just virtue signaling and looking for clout. And it's like, dude, I just miss my friend. I'm never going to see my friend again. And it's because, you're dumb. I identify as a whatever, meme that they have to see every day. And it just, anybody listening that is trans, no, there's a lot of love and support for you when you have to sift through all the bullshit out there that's dehumanizing you. But we care about you,
Yep. And, I can imagine it's also like times like this, too, where it feels like it's never, ever going to get better. And I don't know that we're not going to go through a period of time where it doesn't get a little bit worse. But, I think hopefully, and I don't think it's being too Pollyannish to assume that it is just it is a matter of time. And it's hard to say that to people who are living through the pain that is exerted by this era and by people around at this time. Is what's the value of their life, or the pain becomes too hard to live for. But in some ways, also, helping people in the future. But it's really hard. I mean, it's hard to make that argument in this era. I mean, there's no doubt. But I really appreciate
Thank you for sharing that story.